September 24th, 2012, regular meeting of the Frankfort Board of Commissioners to order. For the invocation today, we have the Reverend Wayne Sayer from the First United Methodist Church. So would you please stand for the invocation and then remain standing for a pledge of allegiance to our flag. Reverend Sayer.
Will you bow with me, please? Eternal God, you see our entire world. You see beyond what we can. Many see government as an entity of cynicism or fear. We need, O God, for you to strengthen us so that we may move beyond it. May you be the power that enables us to govern with justice and wisdom. Help us in this hour, for it's in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated.
It's cracking up because the camera was moving.
Thank you, Reverend Sayer.
I was thinking, I said, don't look at it, don't look at it.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder? Commissioner Hedden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Here.
Commissioner May?
Here.
Mayor Grant?
Present. So we have a quorum here. So let's go next on the minutes. We have, you've had access to the minutes. We have the minutes for August the 20th, 2012 work session, August the 20th, 2012 special meeting, August the 27th, 2012 regular meeting, and September 10th, 2012 work session. Do I hear a motion regarding the minutes?
Mayor, move that we dispense with the reading and approve all minutes as
Commissioner
presented.
May, got a second?
Second.
Okay, second.
To beat you?
Debating. Any more comments? All right, so the minutes are approved.
Commissioner Wilder?
On the minutes?
On the minutes, absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Hedden?
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Grant?
Yes, so minutes are approved. Next, we are down for ceremonial items, and I'll get to our city manager.
First item we have is a presentation by Joy Jeffries, Executive Director of Frankfort, Franklin County Tourist and Convention Commission.
There's absolutely no way that we could have the tourism success that we have without our city and county governments. I can truthfully say I never contact any one of the city departments from which I do not get full cooperation. Tonight, the Frankfort, Franklin County Tourist and Convention Commission, will you members please stand so that they see you here? Tourist Commission. And the Riverfront Development, a subcommittee of the Tourist Commission, will you all please stand too? Would like to formally thank, very good, Silas.
Thanks so much.
Would like to formally thank the city of Frankfort. You may be seated.
I'd like to echo Ms. Jeffries' appreciation by first thanking Mayor Graham, who I had the pleasure of working with some decades ago, Mr. Wilder, Mr. Hedden, Mr. Turner, and Mr. May, who initially appointed me. It's truly a labor of love to work on this commission. Thank you so much, and I'd like to express appreciation to former city manager Fred Goen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next thing I would like to acknowledge is Chief/Interim City Manager Will Hoyt. I would like to express gratitude to you for the City of Frankfort Police Department. They are exceptionally helpful in supplying not only safety, but also disseminating information regarding events, street closings, and crowd control. Secondly, but certainly not with any less significance, I want to thank you for your willingness to serve our city in the capacity of city manager. I'm fairly confident this was not something you were just sitting around hoping you might get to do. But for the good of our city, you've agreed to lead us in the near future. Thank you. Thank you, Ramona. Frequently, we need help with logistics at our place. Something about appointments or getting on the commission docket or sharing something at a work session or help in knowing to whom I should speak on a certain issue. Through the years, I've probably had 100 of those questions. Thank you for your help. Mr. Moore, our city attorney. Even you, Rob, have not been able to escape our needs. Several times during the years, even though we have our own attorney, something we are doing needed the review of the city's attorney, and I appreciate your help very much. Planning and zoning. I don't know whether Gary or Maya are either one here tonight or not, but I would like to express my thanks to them for their cooperation with our riverfront efforts. With another big project looming in the near future, I am confident of their help, and I believe that we can make this a successful venture for the developers and Frankfort. Public Works. I don't believe Jeff is here.
He is.
Jeff is here. He's sitting in the corner. Thank you, Jeff Hackbard. So much of what we do in tourism and riverfront development falls under your supervision. I appreciate your professional and extremely cooperative attitude. Whether it is you personally or one of your many staff members, we interface frequently with Greg Rogers at Transit, Keith Merriweather in the streets, David Sims in sanitation, Bill Scaff with the sewer department. Public Works works for Frankfort, and the buck stops with you. Last but certainly not least with Public Works, we want to thank Andrew Ferris. Wave at us, Andrew. He takes care of the Gooch House. I don't know how adequately to thank Andrew other than to say he is our caretaker for all of us that spend as many hours in the Gooch House as we do our own. Thank you, Jeff, for leading a very fine crew. Mr. Dawson with Finance. Thank you, Steve. I don't need your assistance often, but when I do, I really need you. You are always helpful and extremely responsive and willing to go the extra mile. I appreciate what you do for our city, and especially what you do for our tourism efforts. And I know that Rebecca's not here tonight, our grant writer, because she's got a son that has birthday today, which was a pretty good excuse for not being here. But we are grateful for her help with grants that affect us directly. The trolley, the walk bike paths, the park projects, and many other beautification efforts are just a few of the projects on which we have used her expertise. Parks, recreation, and historic sites. We could not do what we do without the gyms, or as we refer to them around our place, Porter for Jim Porter McCarty, and Elmo for Jim Elmo Parrish and their entire staff. Nearly everything we do requires the assistance of the Parks Department, and it always comes with efficiency and teamwork. Every park and both museums are crucial to the fabric of tourism in Frankfort and Franklin County. The enhancements at Cove Springs over the years are amazing and so unique, as we're getting ready to have days of nights in just a few weeks up at Cove Springs. The Dolly Graham Park serves a unique purpose and is extremely valuable. Just yesterday, I observed the gathering of the South Frankfort Neighborhood Association celebrating at the park and the community gardens. Juniper Hills provides a swimming pool, park, picnic shelters, and a beautiful golf course that draws golfers from the region and hosts many tournaments throughout the season. Leslie Morris Park at Fort Hill. This amazing park ties Frankfort to the Civil War. It is one of the most beautiful overlooks in the city, and we know how many of these we have to offer our visitors. The staff at Fort Hill, including Mike West. The downtown beautification projects could have never happened without parks. Yes, we have an extremely qualified and energetic beautification committee, including our own Andrew Kamek, your own Andrew Kamek, I guess we say we own him sometimes, and tourism's Robin Antonucci, who serves as the chair. But without Parks and Recreation and the street department, these projects could possibly still be on a page of paper instead of in reality. The Capital City Museum is without a doubt the most impressive city museum I have ever seen for a city our size, and more impressive than most cities multiple times the size of our city. Of course, who else has Nikki Hughes, Russ Hatter, John Downs, and Tom Fugate, and all of their faithful volunteers? Where else but in our state capital could you find historians with pedigrees of these gentlemen that these gentlemen possess? And our Parks, Recreation, and Historic Properties dynamic duo attracted them to work for us. Then we have the entire group of parks projects that affect riverfront development. The Ward Oaks Amphitheater, overseeing the construction and the maintenance, coordinating the inaugural event, Cornets and Cannons, coordinating the Live at the Oaks series this summer, the Pontoon River History Tours, purchase of watercraft, staffing the captains and tour guides. They're all fantastic. Scheduling the tours, Pat Cockrell, who owns this venture, and it is a venture. The success of this pontoon has been unbelievable. The Walking River History Tour, Russ Kennedy has done an incredible job with this task. Riverview Park, facilitating the canoe kayak livery with Canoe Kentucky, being willing to start a private-public partnership 4 years ago, I believe it is now. And that's a unique thing that this city did, and not everybody's city will do something like that. The planning, coordination, and construction of the walk-bike path from the amphitheater past Buffalo Trace, which was just dedicated day before yesterday. And Capitol View Park, clearing off the beach area, adding more picnic tables, benches, trash cans, and other amenities, and even more collaborative plans for next season. I started this section of our thank you with "We could not do what we do without Jim McCarty and Jim Parrish and their staff." I end it with "We could not and wouldn't even want to try to do it without Elmore and Porter and their entire entourage of competent and highly motivated staff who all want to do their best for Frankfort." On behalf of the Tourist Commission and the Riverfront Development Committee, I say thank you, City of Frankfort, for making tourism and riverfront development successful. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for what you do for tourism and riverfront development. Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joy.
Thank you.
You know, Joy, you were given the correct name. You really were. And your staff, you know, I call down there quite often, and Judy and Tawana and Robin, always so pleasant and uplifting, and so appreciated very much what you do. We have a terrific tourism program planned in our city, and you're great for bringing things together. Those things don't just happen. You are a great facilitator, and I appreciate all the committee members there, because you know we have committees and commissions and things, but sometimes committees and commissions don't really work a lot of the time. But this is one, over the years, I've been fortunate to be a part of that riverfront development, and over the years, this group, they do what they're supposed to do. And I greatly appreciate you all very much. Any commissioner want to say anything? I don't mean to hold the show.
I'll just say thank you all so much for everything that you do. It's noticeable in this community, the effect that tourism has. And it's a big part of our economy, and it's greatly due to all of your hard work and planning and effort and the great relationships that your board has and willingness to move the city forward. So I appreciate that, and thank you all for coming here tonight.
Keep up the good work.
All right.
And between all the good stuff that's happened over the, especially recently with the opening of the Ward Oaks Amphitheater and all the riverfront development work that's been going on, the cleared lumber yard, which I think people can see a lot of potential in. It's good to see that you all aren't resting on your laurels, and that there's still plenty of good stuff moving from the back burner to the front burner, and I'm looking forward to seeing everything we can get done over the next, or that you all can get done over the next few years as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, Chief.
I need to hijack your microphone
That's right.
here.
It's okay.
I forgot the protocol there. We have one other ceremonial item. It's Jeff Hackbart from Public Works with employee recognition.
Tonight I'd like to just announce we have some employees in Public Works and Streets and in Sanitation that annually we compete in rodeos, and part of the rodeos it's safety training as well, but it seems like more than not we're winning a lot of these competitions. And tonight I had a couple announcements I would like to make. You're second. But in our street department, we compete in American Public Works Association. And in the state of Kentucky, we compete in regions. And in this September, we won our region for both backhoe, first place Daniel Doss, and then first place in snowplow with John Jennings and Darrell Hearn. So in October, they'll go to the state meet and compete against all the other agencies that won their regions in the state. And so we'll see how we'll report back, hopefully at the end of October, that we'll win another state championship in our Public Works Department. Second item is Daniel Kirk competed in what we call SWANA, Solid Waste of North America, and he competes in the state chapter and won the state chapter, and then he went to the international, and he competed against 59 other drivers across North America and won first place, the national championship. And he's so lucky that the national championship, or the North American Championship, was held in Lexington, Kentucky.
Nice.
Not Hawaii. So, but anyway, congratulations, Daniel. Just really good represent of our people that work here, that they do a really good job and are very skilled, and we like to brag about when they do something.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's great.
Mr. Hagbart, we're going to have a picture sometime in the State Journal of this gentleman and his award. We're going to have that.
I'll have a photographer.
You're going to follow through?
We'll hook it up.
Okay. He needs to be recognized.
We'll get a picture too then.
Yeah, okay. Okay, not right.
Super.
That's great. We have the best driver in the world.
In the world.
Okay. Okay, now we're down to citizens' comments. I don't see hardly any strangers here, but here, we understand that anyone can address the commission on any topic, and we'll have to try to keep this to about 5 minutes. Okay, we have, identify yourself for the record.
Britton Skinner with Downtown Frankfort Inc. And it's great that we can start off this city commission meeting with all of this cheerleading. I'm going to cheerlead some more. This summer we had 7 summer concerts, 12 bands, 2 flash mobs, 1 surprise marching band, countless birthdays, reunions, nonprofits, and at least 1 bachelorette party. It also featured the hottest concert on record, the coldest concert on record, 3 concerts where it threatened to rain up until the minute the band stepped on stage, and 1 hurricane. So I feel like I have survived the gauntlet. And we also, I failed to mention, had thousands of folks come down and enjoy this terrific concert series. And DFI is very proud of the series we pulled off, but we certainly could not have done it without support from the city, in particular Public Works, Parks and Rec, and the police department. Y'all made our work easy, and we are very thankful and appreciative. So on behalf of Downtown Frankfort Inc., I just want to say thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other citizen like to address the commission at this time? Okay, come forward.
My name is Lucy Stevens, and I live at 200 Thistlewood Avenue, across from Juniper Hill Golf Course, off of Louisville Road, behind Allison's Dry Cleaner. And I'm here tonight to say that I'm still off of the bus. It was going on 2 months. I have had no transportation whatsoever. It's been awful. It's truly terrible. Very, very burdensome. And I received, finally, on the 14th, a letter from the person that I have spoken of. And the person that I have spoken of in the past, I received a letter along with a handout which is attached to the report that I have written in response to the 2 sheets that came in. There is I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. This is a, like I say, a very brief report that I compiled with concerns that I have. They're very, very important to me. You know, I realize they're not earth-shaking. To many, they would look and think it's just not important at all, but it's critical to me. And part one is about requests and concerns that were both written and spoken at the last meeting that I was here, which was 827. Part 2 is about deficiencies in the letter that's attached. Part 3 is about deficiency in the alternative that has been given. And Part 5 is continued requests. And in Part 1, I'm not going to mention everything because reading this would be counterproductive. You know, anybody can read it. It's no sense me reading to you. That's not necessary. But I wanted to outline here that nowhere in the letter is there one specific, not one specific in the letter that is attached. There was also, nothing was addressed about my concerns that I shared on 827, like telephone calls and duplication of keys and, you know, hanging out at the dry cleaner and things like that that are important to me. Also in Part 2 about the deficiencies in the letter, there are references made to my conduct, which is galling to me, absolutely revolting, that this person would hold my conduct up to light. Am I a perfect person? Absolutely not. Am I everything that all of you up there sitting there would have me be? No, but you're not all I'd have you be either. That's the way the world works, isn't it? You're not everything I'd have you be, and I'm certainly not everything you'd have me be. So I'm not here to say I'm a perfect person, thoughtless and blameless and all of that, not at all. But I deserve a fair shot. I deserve due process. Everybody in America is entitled to that, and I'm going to get it. I want it, I'm going to get it, and I'm asking for it. And so in Part 2, I speak of how there's this, and this has been done to me before, and it's nothing more infuriating than to have a general statement made about yourself with no specific. It's a hit and run tactic that government bullies use all the time. They hit you and then they run. And they go hide behind their legal defense teams that the taxpayers are paying for, or their bosses for protection. They're bullies, bottom line. That's all they are. If they were alone, if they didn't have a killer dog and a gun, they'd be a coward, in my opinion. But I'm getting emotional, and I don't want to do that. I also spoke of many concerns I've had on February the 2nd, March the 22nd, May the 3rd, never got any response whatsoever to anything that I've ever written. I also say on part, let's just move on to Part 3, the deficiencies regarding the alternative that has apparently been put in place for me. And I say that it's deficient. I also share a very personal item in there that some of you may think is in poor taste, and I frankly don't care if you think it's in poor taste or not. You need to understand that there are people throughout America, myself included, who are struggling. And so I've written a very personal item there. It's quite personal, and that's just the way it is. I had to demonstrate to you, each one of you, who have authority. You have authority. I count on you for that authority. I'm showing you here that I cannot afford the alternative. When they talk about a reasonable rate, there's a passenger, I call it PRR, rights and responsibilities. And in there it says that the passenger has a right to a reasonable rate for the transportation. Well, what he is proposing isn't reasonable for me. Now, I assume that the reasonable rate comes in where it is reasonable for the city. And certainly that is, I'm sure, for the city. But I'm taking it on the level of it's not reasonable for me. And I forgot to type it, but I've made a notation down there about the difference in cost. And I think probably my 5 minutes is coming to an end, so I'll hurry on. Part 4 are continued requests. I'm asking for due process meeting to be scheduled by the end of this week with ample time scheduled in to do a third job. I've already waited 2 months. I also stated at the 8227 Commission meeting that I didn't see how an investigation could be done without my input, and several on the board agreed. So I'm asking for that. And I also want reinstatement on the regular bus. And additional comments are self-explanatory and very short. And since they're bringing up the fault, I make the notation that since they're bringing up the faults of the passengers and all of our responsibilities, there's not one responsibility in the entire PRR about what the responsibility is on the reverse side to the passenger, not one. All we're entitled to is a safe bus, which, by the way, some of the blue buses are not necessarily safe. They're always in repair. The brakes are, I heard, have issues. And I've never spoken to those things because I figured it'll work out all right. But I'm just saying to you. Another thing, too, we're entitled to a bus that's on time. And on the 3rd, when I was told to leave, I wish you would have asked the person to whom I'm referring here about that whole day. I asked for that whole tape to be reviewed from beginning to end. And you can see what that day was like and what a wonderful leadership example that was. And so I just said that, and then in my conclusion, I say this has been a hardship for the last 2 months without transportations. Bullies like to bring harm and sadness to people, and I'm very sad, and I've been harmed by this experience. I want you to know that. So that's it then, and I thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stevens. Mr. White, do you have any comments to make regarding?
Well, the only thing I could ask, and obviously you said you didn't want to, in the last meeting, we don't need to hear this in public thing, but if you would like a meeting with me, I can discuss these issues with you again.
Well, what I would, are you asking me what I would like?
Would you like to take a meeting with me to explain to you the actions that were taken and why they were taken?
Well, I would, but what I want is I want to be prepared for the meeting to bring my materials and my version of it, because I don't know what you're talking about, since there were no specifics in the letter. There were none.
Right.
And so without that, I don't know how to address it. So I would want to know if it's all right with you, not here.
No, absolutely. No, there's sometime.
But I mean, if you could send that to me in writing, let me know what it is, and then I'm going to go and gather my materials, and I'm going to talk to you about what my situation is, because in other words, there are several sides to the story.
Right. Well, I'd be glad to meet with you and talk to you about your concerns, but also explain to you the actions that the transit system took and why they did that.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying, and I hope that's acceptable to you. I don't know if it's not, then I don't know how else to put it. What I want to do is be able to bring my materials and respond to whatever it is that you're going to say, rather than just.
You certainly may.
That's what I want.
That'd be your opportunity to speak your
And I
mind.
need to know in advance, not on the spot.
Right.
Because I won't be prepared to answer if it's on the spot.
Right.
So will I be hearing and writing
If
specifics?
you prefer in writing, I'll send you a letter.
Well, it would be better so then that I can collect my materials and then meet with you.
I'd be glad to do it.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to comment? Okay. Let's move on now. Any more citizens, any other citizen want to make address? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to ordinances. Mr. Moore.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 4.1, an ordinance fixing the rate of taxation for the year 2013 on all motor vehicles and levying said tax for all city purposes. Summary, this ordinance fixes the rate of taxation for the year 2013 at the sum of 22 7/10 cents on each $100 valuation on all motor vehicles subject to taxation in the city, and this is a second reading.
Okay, do we have any motion regarding ordinance 4.1?
Move for approval, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Turner for approval. Got a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Wilder, second. Any comments? Okay, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Graham?
Yes, so ordinance 4.1 is approved.
4.2 by title, an ordinance fixing the rate of taxation for the year of 2012 on all tangible property subject to tax, trust, and insurance companies, public service companies, and levying said tax for all city purposes. Summary, that the 2012 City of Frankfort ad valorem tax rate is 20 9/10 cents on each $100 valuation of all real and personal property, 20 9/10 cents on each $100 valuation on public utilities and public service companies taxable on a franchise basis, 15 0 cents on each $100 valuation on taxable capital of insurance companies, and this is a second reading.
Do you have any
Move to
motion
approve.
regarding 4.2?
So moved, Mayor.
Commissioner Wilder for approval, that's second. Commissioner Turner. Any discussion or comments to make? Commissioner Wilder.
So just to be clear, this does represent a 2% decrease in property taxes, and this is something the commission's talked about for a while, and I know that folks are often, whenever any elected official, it seems, infers that it may be possible down the road to lower a given tax or fee, I think a lot of people roll their eyes and figure they're being lied to, but it's nice to see us actually follow through and lower a tax for a change.
Any other comments? Since I will. Now, I will not be voting for this. And my rationale is that this is part of the, as is mentioned, the budget. I did not vote for approval of the budget. This ordinance we vote on now will save on average citizens with about 11,500 households about 54 or 55 cents a month. So it'll be something like $7 a year that it will be saving on average. And a total of something like $75,000 for the city. Now, I would not be against that, but the other thing we did, which I did not vote for, was the occupational tax. It went up from 1.75 to 1.95. Now, whereas if the property tax is going to save 55 cents a month on average, a household that makes around $30,000 a year would be paying $70 a month, or almost $6. $70 a year, almost $6 a month. A household that makes $40,000 would be paying $70 a year. Something, once again, between $6 and $7 a month. If a household is able to get $50,000, they'd be paying $100,000 a year. So the way this was put together is something that I did not think was right. And we, as a commission, each year I've been mayor, we have said that we were going to have a structurally balanced budget. The first 2 years we did, and we lived up to it. Last year we voted to do it, and then came back and made budget adjustments. It's almost $800,000 to $1 million. And then this year, this budget is not really, as I understand the structurally balanced budget, is that the amount of money you have coming in is the amount of money you spend. That's the way I'm interpreting the structurally balanced budget. And so our anticipated revenue coming in this year is about $31,744,500. Our expenditures, $32,468,473. So there's a $723,973,000 difference in there. And the way that we made the budget balance was by continuing the hiring freeze, which will save us about $300,000. And then taking $423,000 to $424,000 from the reserve fund, then to make this all balance. And that's fine and dandy. But you see, I got to go back to almost 3.5 years ago, the first budget we worked on, that I worked on, and we said we were trying to balance that budget, spending only what we brought in. And so some decisions were made then. Decisions were made then because we lacked about $600,000, which was going to put $5 fee on garbage collection, which created a lot of problems and consternation on the part of citizens. And then another thing we did was hiring freeze, no raises, and then begin to phase out the longevity. And as a result of those factors, and by the way, the reserve we had beginning of that year was $7.1 million, but now things have happened that are better. And I think the decision made back 3.5 years ago helped make our city in a better financial condition, at the present time. The garbage fee brought in about $600,000. And then the push for pay as you throw came along and was supposed to pay for itself, as I understood it. Well, I looked at the budget and I should see how much we anticipate bringing in for garbage collection next year, and it's about $300,000. So that's $300,000 less than $5 brought in. And then, but recycling picked up. So I looked at the anticipated amount for recycling is $125,000. So we get recycling plus garbage for the next year's budget, $425,000. Now, I looked to see how much does it cost to pick up the garbage. $1,680,000. So what I'm saying is that where does the extra money come from? It's going to come from, to do these things, it's going to be from the occupational tax. Now, the occupational tax will kick in January. And the estimate is it's going to bring in about $842,000, something like that, this fiscal year. Now, when it goes in full year, it's going to double that. And so there will be more monies to run the city. And I don't deny that. But the reason I'm not going to vote for it, I understand the reason people do vote for it, but I just wanted to explain the reason I will not vote for it, because I'm not for trying to raise taxes on anybody. But see, what we did, we're going, this fiscal year, we're going to raise $42,000 on occupational tax, but on property tax, we're saving the citizens $75,000. And so I just don't see that's a good trade-off. And so that's why I will not do it. I'm sure there's going to be some comments about my comments, so therefore, okay. Mr. Waller.
You know there are, Mayor. I guess I want to respond to a few things. There was quite a lot there. First of all, this idea that we've overspent by more than $1 million, it just isn't backed up by our monthly financial statements, our annual audits, and by other public documents. The times that we have spent over our revenue projections, that's largely been offset by the fact that our revenues have exceeded projections. So in other words, we think we're going to pull in $100, we have $100 budgeted. I'm using a real simple math or an easy analogy. Well, then it turns out that we're pulling in $120, and so we increase our budget to $120. Well, that doesn't mean that we've overspent $20. Just because we spent $120 when we projected revenues of $100. When you look at the budget amendments we've made and the state of the reserve fund throughout this term, when we took office, the reserves were calculated at about $8.5 million. Right now, they're calculated at about $8.9 million. So this idea that there's been more money has come out of the reserves, Mayor. We all know that. But people are ignoring the fact that thus far more money has gone into the reserves than has come out of them. And frankly, I don't know if it's entirely fair to say you took money out of the reserves without mentioning that you put in more than you took. Comparing the impact of the occupational taxes versus the impact of the of raising occupational taxes versus the impact of lowering property taxes. We're hearing quotes from higher than average occupational taxes and for average or lower than average property rates. Says, and we're hearing this claim that if you make X dollars, then you're going to pay this much in occupational taxes, and the assumption is that if you own this size home, then you're only going to save this much in property taxes. I think it's pretty fair to reason that a lot of property values are linked to are linked to salaries. So in other words, I think it's fair to assume that somebody who doesn't make a lot of money probably doesn't have a real expensive house, and it's probably also safe to assume that somebody who does make a lot of money has a more valuable house. But comparing the numbers from somebody who makes more than average to properties that are at the average or less than average value, that creates a pretty false comparison, I think. And also, mention was made of the garbage fee and of the fact that the city did essentially lower garbage fees. We were getting $600,000 in garbage fees before the pay-as-you-throw program. Now we bring in about $300,000 in fees. But I'm glad that was pointed out, because here's that $300,000 that we're not getting in the garbage fee now isn't coming out of our ratepayers and taxpayers. That's money that is staying in people's pockets. So the idea that that's being wasted, that we're raising taxes and wasting money. We're not wasting money. We're letting people. We lowered the fee so that people could keep that money. So in other words, occupational taxes are going up a bit. Property taxes have gone down, and the garbage fee has gone down. And for the most part, and you can look, for the most part, that constitutes about a wash for the average Frankfort resident. What that does for the city, though, is it allows us essentially to, in large part, outsource that tax burden outside of the city limits. So Frankfort right now has a population of about 27,000. But we have to pay for and maintain a level of service more akin to a city of 40,000 or so because of all the folks who come in from out of town in order to work here. And we have to provide services, for those folks. We had to provide adequate police and fire protection. Our streets and roads had to be able to handle the traffic flow of a much larger city than your average city of 27,000. And so those services had to be paid for. And traditionally, we've relied on local taxpayers in order to subsidize the cost of providing those services to out-of-towners. But part of the effort in raising occupational taxes 0.2%, lowering property taxes 2%, and lowering most folks' garbage bills anywhere from $12 to $60 a year, the purpose of that is to try and shift the burden a little bit away from local taxpayers and local residents, and shift it a bit more towards the folks who come from out of town in order to work here, which frankly I think is only fair. But a lot of thought and care has gone into this, into doing this in a way that's fiscally responsible. And as I've said, the reserves are growing, our budget's doing fine. Do it in a way that's fiscally responsible, but it's also fair to our residents. I guess I'll leave it at that. I mean, we've heard a lot of things. This debate about lowering property taxes has been going on for 3 years now. At first the debate didn't go very far because, and you know this, Mayor, because you and our finance director told me to my face that it is illegal to lower property taxes.
Is that right?
That's right.
There you go.
And I was new to the commission. I was taking people's word for a lot of things, and I believed it, and so I dropped it that first year. We've since found out, obviously, that you actually can lower property taxes, and I'm glad to see we've done it. But we're not doing any of this stuff in a vacuum. Legislation, in a lot of ways, is kind of like whack-a-mole, where if we do one thing over here, of course there are consequences elsewhere. But by doing all this stuff together and at once, I mean, the idea is to take into account the full impact, not just on our residents, but on the city's budget, not just now, but for years to come. And in that sense, I think, frankly, that I think we've done a pretty good job of balancing all of those balancing all those considerations.
Mayor, if I may, I just want to
Yes, sir.
make a quick comment on this. I want to give some context to the people here in the room and the people at home who are watching this as to how this decision came about. Since 2006, the City Commission has consistently cut your city government. They've tried to cut services, and this year, looking on the upcoming fiscal year, or on this fiscal year budget that we're in now, we're facing over a $2 million deficit. And so what city staff provided us was essentially an a la carte menu of options of, okay, here's how we can become a structurally balanced budget. And these options were not easy options, folks. I mean, we're talking about browning out fire departments. We're talking about laying employees off. This is a town of public employees, and they don't want to see their city workers fired or terminated or lose a lot of their health insurance benefits. And they sure as heck don't want to see fire departments closed down and someone have to respond to a fire from clear across town. They don't want to see police officers cut. We want to see more police officers on the street because they're needed. This budget agreement that we made, where we did increase the occupational tax by 0.2% and decrease the property tax by 2%. There are not too many commissions in this state or across the country facing that kind of deficit that is going to be able to find any way to cut a tax. And folks, we can go back through the record and look how many times has the property tax been cut in the city of Frankfort. Most of us probably can't remember it. But this commission is doing it. We're doing it right here. And the occupational tax, let's talk about when that was raised. We're looking at nearly 10 years ago was the last time the occupational tax was raised. And we're only doing it by, I think that was done by nearly a percentage point was what that was raised 10 years ago. We're doing it by 0.2%. It's certainly going to be difficult for families out there, but I want people to know at home that this is what this commission was facing when we made those tough decisions, and this is why we made those tough decisions. And certainly most commissions would have taken the occupational tax and called it a day, but we wanted to try to find a way to make it fair for the people of Frankfort. And that's what this property tax reduction is about, and that's why I'm extremely happy to vote yes for it.
Okay, I don't want to beat this thing to death. Just, 'cause obviously, I don't agree with these two, the comments, and it's all right. It's okay for us to disagree. But the point I would like to make, again, just to reiterate, 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, the reason we had to put the $5 on there is because the occupational taxes had gone down because it's public, for the most part, public employees. We were not getting enough money. Now, so with the occupational tax raised, see, if a point was made to one of the commissioners 4 years ago, said we haven't had to pay for garbage because people who work here with occupational taxes were paying it. But then they went down, and so now, see what we've done? We swapped, I mean, it's a different agreement. We swapped $75 a year for about 1,600,000, 700,000. That's all. We disagree. You know, you look at it, you say you put a blindfold on you and let them touch an elephant, and one part of an elephant, and say, what does an elephant look like, you know? And it spit it out what you feel. But anyway, no more comments, probably is, no, just call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Graham?
No, so ordinance 4.2 is adopted. Mr. Moore.
Ordinance 4.4 by title, or excuse me, 4.3. This is ordinance 4.3 by title, an ordinance amending ordinance number 8, 2012 series, appropriating the revenue to be received by the city of Frankfort for the fiscal year 2012-2013. Summary. This ordinance amends the city of Frankfort sewer budget for fiscal year 2012-2013 to include a community development block grant received after the initial budget was adopted. These additional grant funds totaled $600,000, and this is a second reading.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Turner. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. Hadden, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, so ordinance 4.3 is approved.
And now we're on 4.4. By title, an ordinance to amend the City of Frankfort's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 150.05, by amending the City of Frankfort's Property Maintenance Code, Section 302, Exterior Property Areas, subsections 302.8. Summary, this ordinance amends the city's Property Maintenance Code by amending subsection 302.8, storage of household appliances or non-outdoor furniture, to further clarify that it is intended for such items used, placed, or stored outside.
Okay, to have a motion regarding 4.4. Okay, Commissioner Wilder, second, Commissioner Turner. Any discussion?
I just want to clarify
Yes,
for the
sir.
record, Mayor, that
Yes, sir.
this doesn't change the substance of the law at all. This is just for the public's understanding, but this doesn't change the substance of the law at all. This just clarifies some language to make it a little easier to understand. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, so ordinance 4.4 is adopted. We're now down to orders, and Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Graham. We have one order on the agenda, 5.1, an order establishing an investment policy for the police and firefighters retirement fund. The order will require the City of Frankfort to stay within the investment restrictions established by the Police and Firefighters Retirement Fund investment policy. And this has no immediate financial impact.
Okay. Do we have a motion to change to orders 5.1? Commissioner May for approval, second, Commissioner Turner. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, so order 5.1 is adopted. That takes care of the orders. We're now down to resolutions.
You have three resolutions. 6.1, a resolution regarding creation and oversight of a Trail Town Task Force. The Kentucky Trail Town Program is an official tourism development designation through the Kentucky Office of Adventure Tourism. Communities receiving Trail Town designation benefit through eligibility of marketing dollars for matching funds through the Kentucky Department of Travel and Tourism, designation on state maps, visitor guides, and other marketing materials. The Frankfort-Franklin County Tourist and Convention Commission is seeking Trail Town designation for Frankfort and will be providing oversight and administrative support for this project.
Okay, we have a motion regarding resolution 6.1.
Move for approval.
Okay, Commissioner Turner, have a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Hadden, any comments? Yes, Commissioner Wilder.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm hoping that this program succeeds, and want to thank Joy and everyone who's worked together to bring this to us. This, in and of itself, would be a wonderful thing for our community, to be a more trail-friendly community and to have more access to walking, bicycling, and boating options in town and routes in town. I think the real benefit of this is that it would help put us on the state map in a larger way, and connect us to other statewide routes, which, as Joy or anybody who works in tourism can tell you, the more folks you can bring into town for tourism purposes, the better. Because as a general rule, folks just come in, put their money into our local economy, and go on their merry way without requiring much from us. And not only is this good for our community and for our own quality of life, but I expect that if we succeed at this, it'll have a significant economic impact over the years as well.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
I think we will.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Brown?
Yes, so resolution 6.1 is adopted.
Resolution 6.2, a resolution supporting Frankfort becoming a work-ready community. The Kentucky Workforce Investment Board, in conjunction with the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet, is undertaking work-ready community programs. The program certifies counties as work-ready based on the quality of their labor force. It'll raise the concept of certified employability for the individual level as indicated by a person's attainment of National Career Readiness Certificate or other credentials to the community level. The work-ready community will promote cooperation among key community stakeholders to work toward a common community goal.
Move for approval, Mayor.
Okay, got Commissioner Wilder for approval. We got a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Turner, any discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes, absolutely.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
You want to comment?
Oh, and I don't need to make a comment, Mayor. I will. I expect this will have an even bigger economic impact
Okay.
than the trail town. This is a good project.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Graham?
Yes, so resolution 6.2 is adopted.
6.3, a resolution of the City of Frankfort, Kentucky relating to loan assistance from the Federally Assisted Wastewater Revolving Loan Fund. This is to approve the resolution authorizing the mayor of the City of Frankfort and his successors in title to execute and submit an application through the Kentucky Energy and Environmental Cabinet and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority to obtain loan assistance from the Federally Assisted Wastewater Revolving Fund for proposed wastewater treatment facility improvements. The mayor would be authorized to sign any documents relating to or necessary to obtain loan assistance from the Federally Assisted Wastewater Revolving Fund for the proposed treatment facility improvements. The financial analysis, this will have no fiscal impact on the city unless we borrow funds, and then the city will have to repay the borrowed funds.
Okay, do I have a motion regarding resolution 6.2? Commissioner May for approval, second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Hadden, any comments? I should call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden?
Yes.
Commissioner Turner?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Mayor Graham?
Yes, so resolution 6.3 is adopted. We're now down to the consent calendar. City manager.
Thank you. Item 7.1 is to authorize a bid award to Bob Hook Chevrolet for a four-wheel drive extended cab Chevrolet Silverado work truck, 2013 year model. It's replacing a 2003 utility truck with over 112,000 miles that needs repairs. And as I said, it'll be the state price contract of $31,398. 7.2, to authorize filing of an application of the 2012 Brownfield Assessment Grant Funds and designated the mayor to execute all grant-related documents. The United States EPA has grant funds for hazardous substances and petroleum grants for the brownfield assessments. And the city has multiple sites which may or may be perceived to be brownfields. This grant money would enable the city to complete an inventory of possible brownfields and complete assessment of these sites. This grant doesn't require a match in cash or in-kind services, should have no additional impact to the budget. 7.3 is to authorize purchase of a 2012 Caterpillar loader for the street division. Street division needs a new loader to replace an older model, and we'll use the older model as a trade-in. The value of the trade-in is $16,000. The equipment cost from Wayne Supply on the master state contract price is $147,000. The purchase price ends up being $131,418.92. 7.4 is to authorize purchase of a new 2012 Chevrolet pickup truck for sanitation division to replace an older model that will be surplused. This will also be under the state price contract from Bob Hook Chevrolet. The amount is $26,728. 7.5 is to consider approval of change order 1 for the Louisville Hills Stormwater Separation Project and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents associated with the change order. During the construction of the storm sewer, it was determined that the existing gravity sewer along 48-inch pipe on Taylor Avenue is not properly accessible. This project will help remedy the situation that exists. QK4 and the city have negotiated a reasonable price for replacing this line and constructing proper manholes and property service connections to bring this section of sewer up to current standards. And this replacement should allow for many years of trouble-free service to the residents. The original contract, this adds $27,440 to the original contract, and the total contract is now $1,246,519. 7.6, to authorize entering into a professional services agreement with Municipal Engineering Company for miscellaneous surveying services, property surveys, and easement exhibit assistance for various sewer projects, and authorize the mayor to sign all documents associated with the agreement. This consolidates a lot of the easement exhibits that sewer has with varying companies when they have small projects. So this would standardize their format and allow for a consistent final project. This agreement would have a cap of $30,000, and that would be the financial analysis on this. 7.7 is to authorize approval of professional services agreement with Heritage Engineering for an engineering study on biosolids processing, and authorize the mayor to sign all documents associated with the project. Sewer Department has seen a significant increase in the amount of biosolids that are being received at the wastewater treatment plant over the past year. Increase has resulted in the plant being unable to meet the criteria for operating or generating Class B biosolids. So they're sending more biosolids to the landfill. This would, Heritage would evaluate the department's sludge processing system and make appropriate recommendations for the Class B requirements. The total contract is not to exceed $7,800. 7.8, authorize approval of Amendment 1 to Professional Services Agreement with O'Brien and Gear Engineers for the Holly Hills Meadowview Sanitary Sewer Evaluation Survey, and to authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. In April 2012, the Sewer Department entered a contract with OBG to perform the Sanitary Sewer Evaluation Survey in Holly Hills and Meadowview subdivisions. Due to conditions in the field, they need requested additional smoke testing, reduction in the number of manholes to be inspected, and extension of time due to extremely dry conditions, which has not allowed them to obtain reliable weather data, flow data. The Sewer Department has also added an area adjacent to the work area to be included in the evaluation, and it gives time extension from August 2012 to February 29th, 2013 to monitor adequate flow. The additional funding in the amount of $10,000 is being added to the contract. 7.9 is to authorize purchase order with Source Technologies for the purchase of ETX and hydrogen peroxide to be used at Ravencrest Pump Station to control odor complaints in the Silver Lake subdivision and other locations downstream of the pump station. Sewer Department's been using a different product, and it has determined that ETX is more effective at controlling odors. This purchase order in the amount of $30,000 will be paid out over the next year as the product is being delivered. 7.10 is to authorize the mayor to sign a memorandum of understanding between the City of Frankfort and the State Historic Preservation Office for the Louisville Hill Project. The State Historic Preservation Office has determined that a rock head wall located on Louisville Hill may be classified as historic. While the work by the contractor will not directly impact the structure, the state is concerned about collateral damage, and this memorandum of understanding defines the actions that the contractor will take to prevent damage to the structure and remedial actions that should be taken in the event of damage. 7.11, to authorize approval of Amendment 1, add $20,000 to a professional services agreement with HMB Professional Engineers for miscellaneous engineering services, and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. Sewer Department has periodic needs for professional engineering services for small projects, and this would add, once again, $20,000 to, and they've spent the money from the original budgeted amount, which was $10,000. This adds $20,000 for a total of $30,000 for HMB for professional services. 7.12, to authorize purchase order with General Chemical for aluminum sulfate for phosphorus removal at the wastewater treatment plant, to authorize the mayor to sign all documents associated with the purchase. General Chemical is a regional distributor for this area, and this purchase order in the amount of $61,800 will cover the department's need for the fiscal year. 7.13, to authorize renewal of technical service support agreement for monitors, defibrillators, and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. This is for the fire department. This new contract is for a 3-year period to expire on September 2nd, 2015, for $44,424 payable in monthly installments. Physio Control is the company, and they provided this service to the city for over 21 years in a very satisfactory manner. 7.14 is to authorize the mayor to sign a settlement agreement and release entered into between the city of Frankfort and H. Gene Taylor and Joyce Albro and all related documents. This is to finally settle a lawsuit against the city of Frankfort in 2008 that the city had trespassed on the property by placing a storm drain pipe on their property. The claims have been resolved as set forth in the settlement agreement. The authorization is requested for the mayor to sign the settlement agreement and release on behalf of the city. And the city's insurance carrier will pay the amount of $20,000 to Mr. Taylor and Ms. Albro. 7.15 is to approve Amendment 1 to Professional Services Agreement with GRW for the Country Lane Sanitary Sewer Evaluation Survey and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents. Due to conditions in the field, GRW has requested additional smoke testing, CCTV inspection, additional manhole inspections, and heavy cleaning due to severe root intrusion. Additional funding in the amount of $21,125.40 is being added to this contract. 7.16 is to authorize the waiver of payment in lieu of taxes for the Frankfort Housing Authority for the year 2011, and this payment would approximately be would have been $10,000. 7.17 is to authorize an agreement with the Kentucky Transportation Center to participate in the Safety Circuit Rider Program. The Technology Transfer Program of the Kentucky Transportation Center, University of Kentucky, provides a Safety Circuit Rider Program for the benefit of Kentucky governments. Funding for this program is provided by Federal Highway Administration and Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. The mission of the program is to reduce crashes on rural low-volume roadways by providing information technical assistance in roadway departures, intersection safety, and pedestrian safety. Members of the city staff will comprise a team with Bluegrass Ad, Transportation Center, and District 5 folks to take on a minimum of 2 projects here and devise low-cost safety improvements that will lead to a safer community. There's not a charge for this program. 7.18 is to authorize the disposal of surplus property by public auction. Department heads have determined that the items that are listed in your books are deemed obsolete and are no longer required in their area, and we plan to sell them by public auction on November 3rd, 2012. 7.19, now we need an auctioneer to sell that property, so we ask the mayor to ask that you authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with Joe Penn Auctioneer, and this will cost the city 8% of the auction sale proceeds. We've used him in the past and been very pleased with the outcome. 7.20 is personnel. We have several appointments in the fire department. For firefighter 1, request you approve the appointment of Paul R. Daniels, Christopher Williams, Andrew Grogan, Bria Colleen Mink, Zachary McCain, Michael Shields, Joshua Duncan, Andrew Willett, and Isaac Salzman to the position of firefighter 1, effective 9/13/12. Also, the appointment of Marie Allen to the police department as patrol officer 1, effective October the 9th. The appointment of Daniel France to public works as a public works tech 1 on October 2nd. The appointment of Joseph B. Sanderson to Public Works on October 9th as Public Works Tech 2. The appointment of Brandon W. Loman in Public Works as a Public Works Tech 1 on October the 9th. And promotion of Ryan W. Adams in Public Works back to September 25th from Public Works Tech 2 to Public Works Tech 3. Also, we're requesting permission to make 3 conditional job offers for the position of telecommunicator. Upon the conditional job offers are contingent upon successful completion of psychological, polygraph, and drug screen examinations. And that concludes the consent calendar.
We have a motion regarding the approval of the consent calendar. Commissioner May, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Hadden, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder?
Yes, and I'd like to welcome all these folks into our public safety and public works departments.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Mayor Graham.
Yes, so the consent calendar is adopted. Now we're down to board appointments. On the Board of Parks Commissioners, I'd like to recommend for your approval the reappointment of Christopher Shera to a term ending 5/1/16, reappointment of Stephen Pruitt to a term ending 5/1/16, and the appointment of Judy Ziegler to complete a vacant term ending 5/1/15. You have attached some resumes pertaining to these people. Commissioner May approval. Commissioner Wilder, second. Okay, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wilder,
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Mayor Graham.
Yes, so the appointments for the Board of Parks Commissioners is approved. I also have submit to you for your approval, an appointment of Rick Pogroski to the Electric and Water Plant Board for a term ending 9/23/16. Do I have a motion? Commissioner May, do you have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Hadden, second. Okay, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder,
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Mayor Graham.
Yes, so the appointment of Mr. Pogroski is approved. Now we're down to old business. Any old business, dear my friends?
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. All right, new business.
Is it okay if I?
No, honey, we can't do that. No. Any new business? Okay, I've called for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
All right, got a second?
Second.
Okay, call the roll.
Commissioner Wilder,
Yes.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Commissioner May,
Yes.
Mayor Graham.
Yes,
I'll look at